Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be doing my crusty toes. It's been a minute. My set that I previously had on is still the Valentine's set. So we're going to be transforming those into something a little bit more St. Patrick's vibes, but making them super classy looking by adding some gold into it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Now let's get right into it. Getting right into today's video, here are my crusty musty toes. They don't look as bad because I have trimmed them throughout this whole growth process, but also because they are gel products and toenails typically do not get dingy or anything like that unless you're wearing sandals and scraping your toes everywhere. But since it is closed-toed shoe season, I have not had them get messed up at all. So that is always nice. We're going to be starting off with our e-file at your preferred speed. I am using mine at about 6,000 RPMs for this process, and I am using my not polished e-file for reference. We're going to be using very light pressure and a really good grip on that toe and also your handpiece so that neither one moves and you accidentally hurt yourself or a client, especially if they are a paying one. Always make sure you are using extra caution. We do not need any type of injuries or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish removing this. Again, just focusing on that top coat and gel product or design that I have on my toenail. In that same motion, I'm also going to be kind of trimming them very so lightly and then also debulking slightly the cuticle area of the previous set that I did on my toes. So as you can see, a lot of the time I do not file the surface of them because the application comes out pretty flawlessly when you are using BB gel. But sometimes it gets a little bit bulky back there and you won't notice it until it grows out. So I am making sure that I am making that nice and flush so that when I go in with my new product, it goes on there nice and perfectly and you don't get an over bulky toenail application. Now this one is going to be taking me a little bit longer than all the other ones because if you remember or if you watched my last video, and if you didn't, I'll leave it linked so y'all can check it out. I did use 3D gel for this, so meaning it is nice and bulky. That design was raised above the nail, so the filing is going to be a little bit more of debulking process on this until I get to that gel that I have on my toenail. So as you can see, lots of dust, lots of filing, and a good amount of pressure when I'm doing that. Again, debulking it just very gently and then trimming it ever so lightly. I like to leave a little bit of extra length in what I'm going to want at the end, because if I overcut it, you cannot add length easily unless you soak off, add a tip, but we don't want that. So I leave it a little bit longer than I want. That way I can shape them as perfect as possible and I don't have to worry about over filing. Next process, we're going to go into our sanding band. This is from Profiles Backstage along with the mandrel bit. I have now moved my e-file down to a speed of about 2,000 RPMs on my not polished file. This thing is strong, and especially when doing work on toenails, they are extra sensitive, so you want to make sure that you are not over filing. So to make my life a little bit easier and a little bit more safe, I just go in with a speed of 2,000 RPMs, and I'm just going to gently go around that natural nail portion of my toenails and etch the surface, scratch it up a good amount using a fine mandrel bit. And then we're gonna go in with our cuticle prep, which this is a diamond bit from Profiles Backstage. I am going to be pushing back that cuticle and also removing that dead skin from the cuticle area all in one step. So as you can see, I'm exposing a little bit more of that natural nail while I'm doing this. But if you are scared or do not want to do that, you can always go in with a cuticle pusher. And before doing this, you would go in, push back the cuticle, expose more of that natural nail, and then you can go in and buff off that dead skin. Again, my speed is at about 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs when doing anything around the natural nail or the skin. Now, if I was doing this on a client, or if you're doing this on a client and you are okay with it, go ahead and nip off the dead skin around the cuticle area. I prefer to use a ball bit. I've always been that way. I have gotten a little bit more comfortable using scissors and nippers. However, my back does not bend that far down. So we are sticking with the cuticle ball bit, and we're not going to try to use no scissors because that would be awful, and we definitely do not want to cut our toes. So I'm going to go ahead and use a safe route and use my cuticle ball bit again at 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs. I did go ahead and cleanse the surface with a lint-free wipe and a little bit of Young Nail Swipe, and I'm going in with the primer from Not Polish. I don't typically do primer for my toes because the product adheres really, really well. But if you are one that needs that little extra step, definitely implement it. And if you're not sure, go ahead and implement it just to save your behind, because you do not want to do all this work and then them to just lift off. So I'm going to go in with my BB gel from Profiles Backstage. This has been my go-to for my toes. If you struggle with short toes or you wonder how I've gotten the length and the shape of my toenails, this is it. So it is going to thicken up your natural nail while still giving it the flexibility that our toenails need. So for example, if you smack your toe on the bed frame, no worries, because it's not going to break as it would if you are wearing acrylic. And I know a lot of people do acrylic on their toes to add that extra strength and shape. However, I don't recommend it. It will crack a lot easier. It does not bend like gel does. And a lot of the time you'll get lifting a lot easier with acrylic versus gel. So especially on your toes, you do not want to get any type of moisture under there. And if you have any type of lifting, I promise you, you will get moisture under there. Even though you think you're being super clean and drying your toes off, toes are just feet. Y'all know about feet. So do make sure that you are paying attention to all of those things, because it is very, very important. So we're going in with that BB gel, and as you can see, I'm using the liner brush from Veeda. This one is the long liner. I'm just using the shorter end of it, and I kind of just bulk up the BB gel in the center of the nail as I'm doing here, and then I quickly push up into the cuticle area or down, whichever you prefer to call it, and then I'm gonna be just spreading it downwards towards the tip of my toenail, and then I'm going in with that liner brush to get all those hard to reach areas. I prefer to do it this way. One, it's going to keep the nail and the gel from flooding. So if you've ever used gel products and it just floods everywhere, that is probably the reason you're getting way too close to that cuticle area and you're not holding it in the right direction. So this is just going to make it a lot easier, and you're going to be able to get that flawless close application. We're going to be curing that in the light for a full 60 seconds. Always remember to flash cure if you feel it is necessary. Once that's out of the light, go ahead and cleanse the surface because it does have a tacky layer. And I'm going to be going in with my hand file. This is a Tammy Taylor peel and stick file. We're just going to be crisping up that edge of my toenails. I want to make sure that it is super crisp, square shape. That is my favorite. And then we're going to go into our nail art. So I am actually going to be skipping the surface filing. It's just my preference. Always do what you feel is best. If you think it's too bulky, if you have an area that's a little bit more out, I think they're fine. I am going now in with my e-file, and I'm actually going gently underneath the nail so that I can kind of debulk the tip of it. If you have been doing this on your hands, note that you could do this on toenails as well. It's just a nice way of keeping the structure good, but making it not as bulky at the tip. And it's just my favorite. It makes everything a little bit more crisp and so sleek looking. I'm also going to be filing that side of that one because she kind of grows outwards. We're going to give it a good little cleanse, and this is what we're working with after that application. I'm going to go in now with our nail art. I'm taking a mixture of green gel polish and a little bit of black gel paint from Veeda, and I want to deepen it up. I love a good rich green color. However, if you wanted a little bit more bright or even lime green, you could do that. But since these are going to be specifically for St. Patrick's Day nail toe inspo, I wanted to make sure that it was a beautiful, rich green. And we're going to be doing something fun that does not scream St. Patrick's Day, but it does at the same time. So we're not going to be doing leaf clovers or anything like that. We are going to be adding green with gold, which I think is a perfect combination, and people will get the gist, but it's still super, super cute and elegant looking. I'm going to be going in with like a halfway wiggly tip design with my green, making sure I'm getting all those edges perfectly. And this does not have to be perfect. I'm not doing it in any specific design way. I just want it to be kind of curved. And then I'm fully painting my second toe. And then the fourth one is going to get the similar design as my big toe. Now we're going to cure that in the light for a full 60 seconds. And now I'm going in with this gel from Profiles Backstage. And not even going to lie, I cut my makeup sponge because I didn't have any sponges for nail art. Worked perfectly. I'm using my tweezers and making a faux aura type of design, the one that you typically do with your airbrush, and not gonna lie, it looked perfect. I used the white gel paint from Profiles Backstage, which is in this little makeup looking tray. I'll leave it linked down below, but it is a thick putty gel and it worked beautifully and the coverage was perfect. I did about 3 coats of it. And of course, when you're doing that design, you want to go in with a light ombre towards the outside and then work your opaqueness towards the center. That's typically what I did. Now I'm going to be going in with matte top coat. This is from Profiles Backstage. And I did an awful application when I did that, so you can kind of see some shine streaks throughout. So try to ignore that. But now I'm going to be going in with the Kiara Sky Rub-On No Wipe Top Coat. This is perfect for chrome. It is my go-to for chrome and it works amazing. So I'm actually going to be taking that on my liner brush from Veeda. And we are going to be just going in wherever you want to add gold. So for this one, I'm going in an outline of that green. And on the second toe, we're going to go around that aura design, kind of all wobbly looking lines, which is such an easy design to create because it looks so good once you add the gold, but you don't have to be perfect with it. You can add as much wiggles, as much curves as you want, and it looks so, so pretty. So again, we're outlining those greens. And then on the pinky toenail, I did add like a marbleized look. It's not gonna look like that at the end because it's such a small surface, but we're pretty much adding green in the center and then outlining that, kind of giving it like a geode type of design. And then we're gonna rub on some chrome. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. On the third toe, we are actually doing kind of like a carved out chrome design, which you'll see me once I'm applying that. And then you want to fully cure in the light for a full 60 seconds. Now, if you're like me and have no idea how to master the chrome from not sticking to any type of matte top coat, Let me know what your guys' secret is down below, because what in the world, the way that this mind boggles me. I don't understand if it's my chrome or if it's my top coat, but I've used tons of different matte top coats, tons of different chromes, and for whatever reason, it still kind of sticks to the matte top coat. I have yet to get a perfect like removal once you dust it off. I've used my finger for the application. I've used a sponge, silicone tool. I've even used a toothpick, just trying to isolate the chrome on the area that I want. And it still sticks to it. So it's very confusing. So if y'all have any tips and tricks, let me know down below, because I did struggle a little bit to get this off. It did come off, but there you can still kind of see little specks here and there. So I'll let your girl know. I just went ahead and rubbed that on, and now we're going in with our top coat. I am actually using the stain resistant top coat from Profiles Backstage. I was looking through all of my nail stuff that I have, and I did not realize that they have a HEMA-free stain resistant top coat, and I got so excited. So that is exactly what we're using. Toes get crusty, dingy, and gross really easily, especially with light colors. But this is pretty much the result. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.